don't know how much you'll be able to hear me out here because it is pissing it down, but I'm sat under the tree so I'm not getting wet and I'm so enjoying the sound of the rain. It also smells so good out here. I wanted to show you my finished frame. I couldn't show you last night because I actually didn't finish until about 11:30 and it was obviously far too dark. But here we have, this is really awkward because I'm sat on the outside sofa, the finished frame. Let me try and angle this a little better. So this is the completed punch needle frame, and by completed I mean just the punch needle portion, because I am going to felt and bead all of these circles on every single one of these butterflies, which I'm sure is going to take forever, but I think it's going to be worth it and I'm really excited to start on that process. I think my favourite one is a toss-up between this one and this middle one, but I clearly like this one a lot because I actually repeated the colourway here, which I wasn't going to do because I do want them all to be one of one, like unique art pieces, but the butterfly shapes are completely different and I think I'll use different beads on them both as well, just to change it up even further. Oh my god, it's really coming down now. Okay, it is coming through the tree a little bit, so I'm going to run this in and then I'm going to come and sit out in the rain. The front side's looking a little bit crazy, but obviously they are going to be trimmed and pretty by the end. But I'm so happy with the colour combinations. I think what's really nice is that they're all made entirely using secondhand or vintage yarn. I just got back to my stuffy little flat and I really don't feel like doing any work, but I'm working anyway on this. I don't know if you guys saw not my last video, the one before that. I was tufting, I know these look like turds, but I was tufting these wings and I'm going to, well, the plan is I'm going to sew them together and create like a 3D tufted butterfly. So I'm just sewing together the first wing here. It's quite chunky. I know it doesn't look like much at the minute, but hopefully when it's done it will look quite cool, although I don't know how I'm going to attach these parts yet, and then I also want to add some beading and stuff. It is just experimental though, so if it doesn't work then that's fine. I've got strawberry oat milk and an Earl Grey tea. I feel like this is a bit of a crotch shot, but I think it'll be okay. Just trying to make sure that I'm sewing it symmetrically, or as symmetrical as possible. That's one wing done, and I've left a little bit this side and this side because I think I'm going to need the extra hessian to attach this part. It looks so silly. Second one is done. You'll be able to tell what they are a little bit more once I've given them a trim. That gives you some idea. Let's find you a good one. I made these little pigeon portraits, but with like a little beaded loop to hang them. We got this pink one, and then this teeny tiny sky blue one. And I think they turned out so cute. I need to embroider labels for the back bit. The general consensus from my last video is that you all prefer longer videos, so really you only have yourselves to blame for this one being, I think, almost half an hour. Anyway, on this day I woke up really craving a very specific vegan sausage roll from a very specific cafe, so I hopped on my bike, secured the goods. I was so happy because they sell out really quickly. I managed to grab one for me and one for my boyfriend to take home later. And then I popped over to a different cafe to get a coffee and sit and do some work. I had a bunch of pictures to edit, some things to list on my website for sale, and some other bits and bobs. Of course, I had to pop in to the local charity shops. This one is my favourite. I'm just going to make my way straight to the back corner, which is where they keep all of the craft stuff. And I really like how they keep this so organised, because I feel like a lot of charity shops just dump craft stuff into like one big bin, you have to root through it. But they keep it super organised here, and I always seem to find things that I didn't even know that I was looking for. How beautiful are these? The bumblebee. Cool. I love the size of that one. Amazing. I picked up a couple of things from the charity shop. Nothing too exciting, but I got 2 embroidery hoops because they were only £1 each, and this big old bag of embroidery floss for £3, and then this, just because I was intrigued by the label, acrylic for, what does it say, punch embroidery. I think that's pretty good for a £5, because I know I'm going to get quite a lot of use out of all of these. So this corner is just accumulating all of my projects. I've got a YouTube video that I'm currently editing, my butterfly, 3D butterfly that I'm in the middle of sewing, a bunch of labels that I sewed last night and I need to finish them off, and some crochet because I'm currently crocheting a little case for my little printer. Currently editing my shop. I just want to refresh it a little bit, like I want to change the logo. This is my old logo. It's just a scan from my sketchbook of an ink drawing of some of the tools that I use. I do like it, I just want to change it up. And then it's just, I like it very simple, but I just think it needs a little refresh. Okay, I think I have done playing around with this. Got a new logo, which is a scan of one of my embroidered labels that I put on the back of my textile pieces. And then I've got my bag charms. You can click and they are there. And then scroll down and I've got textiles. View all the ones that I've got currently available. And then my stickers, a little about me bit, and that's done. I mentioned a few months ago to my parents that I really wanted one of these little printers, and when they got back from holiday they bought me one for looking after the house and the cats, which was really unexpected and completely unnecessary, but really lovely of them. The reason I wanted one of these and I thought it would be beneficial for work is, well, I'm always taking pictures of stuff when I'm out and about that I think is quite inspiring, or like I maybe want to use in an upcoming textile piece or whatever. But I take so many pictures of my cat, everything just gets lost in my camera roll of just a sea of animal pictures. So I just forget about these things that I've seen and never think about them ever again. So I wanted to get one of these so I could take a picture of stuff that I like the look of, print it out, stick it in a journal or sketchbook, and then I always have this to look back on, reflect on, and hopefully inspire some upcoming art and textile pieces. I took a picture of the thistles that I saw out on the bike ride, and I think they're so cool, and they're definitely something that I would like to incorporate in my textile work at some point. So I'm going to print off one of these pictures, likely this one, and stick it in my sketchbook. Example of the photo on the screen. So it comes out as a photo, but it's also a sticker. I'm going to finish sewing some of my labels, which is just taking them from this to this, so I can attach them to the back of my textile pieces. All done. I've just been throwing all of my scraps on the floor, so I'll have to tidy that up and do a quick hoover. Gonna continue sewing this butterfly. Moving on to this wing, I'm going to start sewing from this corner here. I've made some little cuts where the wing changes shape here. Hello, sweetheart. He's annoyed that I'm using his chair as a tripod. Excuse me, sir. I'm trying to work. I'm going to try and show you what I'm doing now. It's actually quite difficult, this bit, because I'm sewing the front of this part onto the front of this wing, and then obviously I'm going to sew the front of this part onto the front of this wing, and then I can sew the whole thing together, but it's just a bit faffy and more delicate than you think. It's kind of taking shape. I've kind of confused myself now, actually. Oh my god, I've really confused myself. Put maybe one more stitch. And I think that should suffice for now. Okay. I don't know whether to try and sew this part on the other side as well. I think that might help with keeping it more stable. Going to make some more of these mini pigeons today. My mini army of pigeons. This is my current read. It's a historical fiction based on true events, and I will never look at a Rembrandt painting the same ever again after reading this. I'm just crocheting a little pouch for my mini printer, just to keep it a little bit safer when I'm taking it out and about. And I'm listening to Project Hail Mary whilst I do so. This is a sci-fi, which is not normally something I would be interested in, but I've heard lots of good things about it, so I'm giving it a go, and it is very good so far. My baby boy Bones is keeping me company as per usual. He's never too far away. This is kind of hard to show you, but I've just sewn this bottom wing to the bottom part here, and then this is flipped up, so I need to sew this one to the top side of this wing. I don't know if I explained that very well, but very messily taking shape, but these two are attached, at least. This one is attached to both sides and this one's only attached to this side for now, but I'm going to carry on and sew this part on. Making a lot of progress now. I know it still really doesn't look like much, but it's fun to experiment with things. I'm going to work on the other side now and then try and get the whole thing sewed together, and then I want to work on some sort of beaded elements. This is definitely in the trust the process phase. I feel like you can tell sort of the vision now, maybe? This is a really important step that I always do after finishing a tufting frame, and before I glue the backs I will take the hessian off the frame and sit and manipulate the yarn back into place. I don't know if you can see that they're kind of, all of the loops have kind of looped through each other and it's looking kind of crazy, so I'll just sit and do this for all of them before I glue. It takes forever and it's quite taxing on my elbows weirdly, but it really does make a huge difference. My elbows are getting really sore, but 2 more to go. It takes me forever to package my textile pieces, but I got through a bunch, and I also made a ton of these little beaded pigeons because they were super highly requested, so these are all ready for my next drop. But I didn't get through all of them. I still have these 3 here to work on, and also 8 more on the frame, but I'll leave that for another day. Thank you guys so much for watching, especially if you made it to the end. That's crazy. This has been a really long video, but I love and appreciate you all, and I'll see you soon.